After the holidays, when things are dying down, the kids are back at school, and you're able to think about your New Year's resolution and your future, I get a lot of clients coming in who have been putting off the idea of divorce or talking about it with a divorce lawyer until January. And I want to give you guys a couple of things to be thinking about if you are considering a divorce or if you are simply just wanting to get some legal advice in the event of a possible divorce in the future. So I want to give you some divorce hacks, some things you can do in the early stages of thinking and discerning, maybe even before you go to a lawyer, that are going to help you out. And the downside is they don't hurt anyways. There's really nothing wrong with doing this. The first is I want you to stop communicating with your spouse about everything you think. This is totally different than the advice that we get from our therapists, our friends, and even our own internal selves. It's really hard to go from telling this person everything you think, everything you know, to not. But it's going to be really critical, and here's why. If you're getting legal advice, if you're thinking about a divorce, the best thing to do is to go talk to somebody else and not flag to your spouse that everything could be changing and give them some sort of triggering moment to go do something crazy like hide a bunch of money. So just pause. If you're thinking about a divorce, talk to a divorce professional about it, talk to a therapist about it, but don't flag every single waking thought you have to your spouse. So that's a hack and a tip number one. Everybody's nodding along saying, of course, yeah, that sounds great, but it's so much harder in reality. So really consider this when you're talking to your friends or thinking about your next step, is to just stop communicating. Information's power. Did you know that? The more I know about my opponent, the more prepared I am. So why would we give anybody a head start on what we don't even know we're going to be doing? So everybody just keep your thoughts to yourself in the beginning. That's my hack number one. Hack number two is start gathering information. Why not? It's tax time soon. You're going to need to get your financial documents in order. If you've never touched a financial document in your life, time to change, time to start. Let's Google what these phrases mean. Let's look for them. So the more you can get your information together and at least know what you don't know which accounts you don't have access to, the more you don't know, the better. Because then once you start to compile your information, you can then take that to an attorney as soon as you're ready to talk to them, and they can go from there. And you'll already have that process of information gathering started. Information gathering is the first step that any divorce lawyer does with any potential client ever. So getting yourself ready for that weeks in advance or months in advance just makes good sense. And if you never make it to a divorce lawyer's office, congratulations, you've just organized your finances and empowered yourself, and that should feel good too. So there's really no harm, no foul in doing that divorce hack number two. Divorce hack number three is something that I think we all do, but you don't remember this last part. Divorce hack number three is like educate yourself, but beware. Have you ever tried to diagnose yourself on WebMD and then you discover that you have some sort of rare genetic condition through your internet search? Same goes for divorce. If you're thinking about a divorce, check out my TikTok, check out social media, start following some people that you think are knowledgeable. But always keep in mind that the internet is a crazy, beautiful, terrible place, and you might be getting some really bad advice. It's good to get like a little bit of a head start on the emotional processing of divorce, and there's really no wrong way to do that online. But when it comes to the nuts and bolts of the legal process, get some general information, but then start calling around and talking to other attorneys. A lot of attorneys give free consultations in person or over the phone. A lot of attorneys do hourly consultations. So it's a really great idea to do several hourly consultations with different people. Much like doctor opinions and medical opinions, lots of different attorneys have different styles, approaches, and strategies. So you really want to find an attorney that's the right fit, and it's not necessarily going to be the first person you call. So avail yourself of this really cool thing that lawyers do, which is to sit with you for an hour and give you really great legal advice. And when you do that, and you do that through several different options, you're giving yourself a lot of information and no pressure afterwards. You don't have to hire somebody at the end of an hourly consultation. You could take their information, think about it, and never call them again. But you're getting information in that hour, and knowledge is power. So I always advise people to meet with a couple people and make sure it's a good connection, and make sure you write down your questions and get them answered because you deserve it. And like I said, at the end of it, nothing magical happens at the end of the hourly consultation. You don't have to do anything. You could simply take that information, think about it, and make your next move however you want. I love my clients who have their ducks in a row, who've thought about this for a while and are more prepared And I find that the people who have the outcomes they like the most are the ones who've been educated and who've really been thinking about this for a while. So whether or not you ultimately go through a divorce or not, or if you just need a little bit of advice from a divorce lawyer because things aren't working out so well or you want to be prepared, if you do these divorce hacks, you're going to have a better, more streamlined process if you ever need it. And at the end of the day, if you never have to go through a divorce, you're at least getting more information, which never hurts. Hope this helps.